Hi everyone, my name is Kate Kalthoff and this is Stamping to Share. It's kind of my own company and I'm so proud of it. I have a wonderful downline group. I couldn't be more pleased to be their fearless leader. It's exciting to stamp and share with my group. They understand me and I understand them, and we're always working together and being positive and inspiring each other. And one of the ways I like to inspire my downline group is actually with this very thing that I'm doing right now. It's a Facebook Live. So welcome and thank you for joining me here at Stamping to Share on Facebook. The cards we're making today look like this. And we're also going to make a couple of more cards from some of the scraps that we're doing. And they are going to be with the note card size. So it's going to be super fun, but I do want to let you know that you only have today and tomorrow to order out of the fabulous January through June mini catalog. I know most demonstrators have put this away and everybody's working out of the new catalog. Technically, I'm kind of working out of the new catalog too today, and I'll explain in a second. But right now, you can still order the bundle. Yes, the art gallery bundle is still available. It will not be available as something that you can order as a bundle starting on the 1st of July. And so that's only available for a couple more days. And the Fine Art Floral Designer Series paper, which so beautiful, that is being discontinued as well. And the last day to get that is today and tomorrow, June 29th and June 30th. As of July 1st, it was no longer available. But you know, that's because bigger and better things are coming along. But I have to share with you this bundle. The bundle portion of it was retired, so you can't save 10% anymore by purchasing it together as a bundle. However, on page 13 of our brand new catalog that debuted, oh goodness, has it been in, I think it was May 4th or something. Oh my goodness, how does time fly like that? It's still available, so if you want to see it on page 13 for additional ideas, they have some wonderful ideas there as well. But you have to buy the stamp set and the die separately starting July 1st. And so just something to keep in mind. So all of the part numbers that I'm providing are as if you were ordering out of the January through June catalog, just to make that clear. All right, so I am so excited. I'm going to flip this camera down and show you all the supplies I have on my desk. This is a little more complicated than what I normally do. So I have a lot of pieces and a lot of parts floating around, and hopefully I have everything organized enough that we're going to get through this in one shot. Because, you know, sometimes I'm not so organized. So we'll see how it goes today. So let me go ahead, flip the camera down, and we'll get started. Oh yeah, look at all these goodies. So I want to thank everybody in advance for sharing this video with your friends or crafting friends. It's always so awesome when you share, and I truly appreciate it. It really helps. I don't think people realize just how much a little share can help someone's business in Stampin' Up, because the more exposure we get, the more we can share our pretty cards and the more we can share this beautiful crafting hobby. All right, so these are the cards we're making. Look at, I have to share with you, these are such beautiful layers. First of all, it starts with the wonderful Fine Art Floral Designer Series paper, but we're also going to be using some cutout pieces to really make it like an art gallery, which is just, I mean, it just works so well. So you're framing these beautiful flower pieces. However, underneath, and I'm going to hold it really close, you can see that we're also using the painted texture background 3D embossing folder in there. So it's really something. It's probably not even showing up. Maybe I need to move my light a little bit so you can see that. But yeah, look at that background. So gorgeous. And we're going to take some of those leftover pieces and create these fabulous note cards. This is actually the first one I created with just a scrap, and that's kind of what sent me down this whole trail. I was thinking, well, you know, I could probably do something with this where I create full size cards and then make scrap pieces. So these are some scraps from the full-size cards that I will be showing you how to make today. Then, of course, in order to make those smaller cards, we're going to need the Whisper White note cards and envelopes. You know, you can easily make these yourself. However, why? When you can just purchase it and have everything scored and all you have to do is fold and start putting your card together. I love it. I actually use these quite a bit. I really like them for leftover paper pumpkin pieces. So for those of you that get our paper pumpkin monthly subscription, you know Stampin' Up! Is always so generous and they're always giving us a few more things than we need. And this is a great, great canvas to put some of those leftover pieces on and create all new cards with your leftovers from paper pumpkin. All right, this is the 3D embossing folder that we're going to be using. It's called Painted Texture. I think it is part of the product suite that goes with this whole set. And I'm going to actually set that in a different spot because I'll be grabbing it later. Well, what do I share next? Here's the bundle. This is what it looks like all together as a bundle. I will set that aside because I always have everything, you know, pre-cut and ready to go. We're also going to need to make our picture frame. And so to frame these beautiful pieces of art, we're going to use the stitched rectangle dies, which are fabulous. So I'm going to set that aside. Here are the inks we're using: Flirty Flamingo, Bumblebee, Mossy Meadow, and the Fine Art Floral Designer Series paper. This shows you just how many different colors are on this paper. You almost can't hardly make a mistake with all these different colors to pick from. Just close your eyes, put your hand in your scrap drawer, and you probably have a color that's going to match this paper. It's super, super fun. All right, and then of course we need to look at the color wheel of the colors that I did choose to work with, and we've got Bumblebee, Flirty Flamingo, Basic White, and then two neutrals here. We've got Mellow Moss and Night of Navy. So let's go ahead and start creating. The first thing that you're going to need, of course, is your card base, and I'm going to do the inside panel first. So here we have our Night of Navy card bases, 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. And of course, I like to use a bone folder. Bone folders are super, super handy because they've probably been using these for thousands of years, but it's really nice because they just make a nice crisp fold on your card. It allows it to lay flat so it's not popping up and getting in your way when you are crafting. The next thing we're going to need is a panel of Basic White for the inside. These are 4 by 5 1/4. That's your standard inside panel, so that's what we're using. And then on the inside, I've already gone ahead and taken the liberty of gluing these down, and these are just strips of Coordinating Designer Series paper, 3/4 inches by 4 inches. Just put them at the bottom, and that way when you're opening up the card, there's a little something on the inside that matches the outside. So we're going to take some Stampin' Seal, and I'm going to add just a little bit of Stampin' Seal at the top. Keep this nice, loose, flowing, and very elegant. And we're going to open these up and set these inside. So just get all 4 borders nice and even. So simple to do, especially for me because I've been stamping since the year 2000. My girlfriend actually asked me to come to a Stampin' party, and I went, and it changed my life. And so I was a customer for 7 years. So for all of you that are customers, I totally relate and totally understand why you love Stampin' Up! So much, because I was there at one time too. I love it even more as a demonstrator, but I loved it pretty much as a customer too. All right, the next thing we want to do is we're going to prep some paper for the inside of our little painting that we're going to be putting on our card. So I have some scrap of Night of Navy cardstock, and then what I did is I went to the 4th one down. So if you count from the outside in, 1, 2, 3, 4, that is the die that I used from the stitched rectangle dies. And as you can see, I pre-cut 2 of those from scrap. So I'm going to set that aside. because that is something that you probably wanted to know. And then the other thing I did is I took some painted or some fine art floral designer series paper, and I cut 2 panels. And these panels are basically your standard size down from a card base, and that is 4 by 5 1/4. So I cut 2 of those panels, and I did the exact same thing, except I was a little more precise when I did this one. So I wasn't working with scrap paper. I was working with something I was actually going to put on my card, but I used the exact same size. So it's the 1, 2, 3, 4th one down from my stitched rectangles, and I centered it in as good as I could and cut out the center of my panels. And that is looking like, so let me show you what that looks like. So I've got some here. These are the ones that I actually spent a little extra time with and made sure I did it right. So I've just got them Post-it noted together because I did this off camera in order to save some time. But our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine is pretty wonderful for die cutting. So I die cut those centers out, and then this is what I'm going to use on my note card, and this one I'll use on my note card. So these 2 inside pieces are going to be used on another project that I'll be sharing with you in just a minute. So I'm going to set these aside in a safe place so that I can find them later. So just give me a second. There we go. All right. And then I also have, remember how I cut out those 2 pieces of Night of Navy from scrap? Well, what I did is I took them and I ran them through. And you can run through 2 at a time. Run them through your 3D painted texture embossing folder, and you will have something that looks like this. So these have the texture on, and that's what we're going to use for our inside panel. So to put this on, I actually flip these over, and I use the back side of that texture piece. I do like to use Scotch tape just to hold these layers into place. So I'm going to put tape here and here. And yes, I probably overdo it with the tape, but you guys know, that's just a thing with me. All right, and then I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm just going to get it all centered in. And remember, I'm working from the back side. So once again, we're just layering that in. And then when you flip it around, you have your perfectly centered papers. Then the next thing to do is, because I want to show you something that you guys might not have noticed, but on this card, there are no embellishments. Did you notice? There's no ribbons, there's no pearls, there's no sequins. This card is really very simple, and sometimes you just don't need an embellishment. I consider the embellishment to be this beautiful background painted texture embossed panel that the flowers are on. Now, of course, if you love embellishments, please don't hesitate. Just because I do it one way doesn't mean that you can't do it your way. All right, so I'm going to flip this over, and I am going to use, oh dear, did I not? Oh, here it is. It's like, where did that go? So I've got my multi-purpose liquid glue here. I love using multi-purpose liquid glue because it gives me a little bit of wiggle room so that I can make sure everything is nice and centered. So we're going to set this on this card, and we're just putting it on just nice and flat. And we're going to do the same thing over here. Oh, thank you everyone for sharing. I see so many of you have shared, and I so appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, we're going to get this one on just like so. And there we go. How beautiful. how beautiful a day can be when you're stamping in your stamp room. Because really outside is kind of gross right now in Minnesota. And I think in a lot of parts of the country it is. All right, here we go. We have our beautiful frames now that we're going to work on. So the next thing we need to do is do some stamping. So let me get my panels out. And I have some scraps of basic white. I don't think I need this many scraps, but I just grabbed some and here they are. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to stamp our 2 flowers. So we've got Bumblebee ink, and I am going to stamp the first flower. Oh my goodness, how beautiful. And here is the second flower. Now, if you find when you're stamping that you're not getting a great image, and this is one of those stamps where you probably want to have a really nice image, you could always put this on a Stampin' mat. It's actually called a paper piercing mat, but we use it for stamping and Stampin' Up. I think you can go ahead and use it for piercing, but I keep this labeled for stamping because it will give you great images. Now, I'm not having any problems with this. It's working great for me, so I'm not using it today, but that's something to keep in mind when you're working with photopolymer stamps. My next color is Flirty Flamingo. So there's a little flower here, and it actually works well to accent all 3 different sizes of these flowers. So let me show you. So here it is on the big flower. Here it is on the medium-sized flower. And it looks different because it's on a different size flower. And here it is on the little flower. So I just want to show you all 3 flowers work great. So let me go ahead and quickly stamp this one. And then we need some leaves. So what we're going to do is we're going to take another scrap of paper, and this time we're going to use Mossy Meadow. And I'm going to go ahead and ink up this stamp with my Mossy Meadow, and we're going to stamp 2 of these. There we go. So this is what we're stamping to get this beautiful image on the front of our card. And so it will look like this at this point. Then, let me get everything closed up here so we don't make a mess. Well, you're going to run and cut those out. Well, you don't have to run, but you're going to cut those out with the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, and you're going to have something that looks like this. So there's your flower cut out, and there's your leaf cut out. But how in the world do you get them together? So simple. So use a paper snips, and you are going to snip off these little edges like this, so that you have just the flower part. And then take some, I'm going to use a little bit of multi-purpose liquid glue, just a couple of little dots. That gives me a little wiggle room to get it just perfectly into place. Then you're going to take your Mossy Meadow cutout. You're just going to drop this over the top. And there, oh, look at that. How wonderful. So there you have your beautiful flower. The next thing is to go ahead and put these flowers onto your card. So I have prepared a second one here. So I'm going to flip those over, and we're going to use dimensionals to put those down. So I've got some dimensionals here. And I almost feel like I could use some mini dimensionals. So I think I'm going to grab those in just a second, but let me get the bigger dimensionals on first. There we go. And let me see if I have some minis. Oh, I do. Good deal. So I'm going to put a mini over here and a mini on this leaf. It's always nice to have both sizes of dimensionals in your crafting supply area because then you don't have to be fussing and cutting things in half. Then I like to use the take your pick tool and just pop off those little peelies on the minis because for some reason the mini ones really stick and I have a hard time sometimes just grabbing them with my fingernail, but I can get them really good with that take your pick tool. See, sometimes those are just hard to grab. All right, and now what we're going to do is we're going to flip these over and we're going to put these into the center of our card. So I'm going to set it, I suppose so that we're about, I don't know, I think I want my stem to be pretty much up and down. And I'm pretty much setting it in the middle, maybe a teeny bit towards the bottom. So I'm going to do the same thing over here. And then we have to put our sentiment on. Now, I am very behind in sending thank you cards to my customers. I really, really apologize. I've been out of town so much lately. And so I just have not been home. I was gone Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And it's just kind of a challenge getting all the work done that I need to get done in my business. But I realize I lead a very blessed life and I'm very lucky to have so many family and friends and to be able to spend time with them. And I guess I can't say no to that. All right, so we're using the Mossy Meadow Stampin' Pad. I'm going to open that up and we are going to use thank you because these cards will be going out to some of my customers who placed orders last week. So let me make this thank you card. You guys are watching it in action. So we're just, oh yeah, I should show you where this all came from. Hold on, I will. And I use Mossy Meadow, I think I said that. But I have a little scrap of basic white and I cut 1, 2, 3, 4 of those little labels, and I'll show you what the label looks like. There's 2 different sizes for the label. So you got a small label, which fits perfectly for some of the words, and a longer label that fits perfectly for the other words. So here it is, and you can see the different sizes that will work with the sentiments. And of course, sentiments from other stamp sets work as well too. You just have to kind of play around with it. All right, so we're going to take these and we're going to put dimensionals, I believe, I think more on the left side of the flip over, and I'm going to use the minis. So I'm going to grab my minis again because they just fit so nicely onto these little labels. So here we go, and it's ready. So let me grab my take your pick tool and I'll pull these peelies off. And then we'll set these on our card, and then we're going to make our note cards because this card will be done. So we're going to set this, we got everything sticking. Here we go. We're going to set this right here. And we're going to put this one in the same spot. Now, I do want to mention that to keep it simple and not have quite so many things on my desk, I am using the Mossy Meadow for the sentiment, which looks great because it matches the leaves. However, in my originals, which I will show you, I used Night of Navy. So in my supply list, I did put the Night of Navy stamp pad in case somebody doesn't have that yet and wants to add it to their collection. They both look great. All right, so we have that card done. Yay! I know you're so excited, just like I am, for how beautiful this turned out. But the fun is not over. So let me grab what we're going to do next. So I'm going to set this aside. And I have 2 note cards here, and these are prepared for us by Stampin' Up. So all I have to do is fold and decorate. So once again, I am going to use my bone folder because I want to show you the difference between using a bone folder and not using a bone folder. Here's the one with the bone folder. See how nicely that one behaves? Here's the one without the bone folder. And it's being naughty. So let me take the bone folder to this. You behave. Oh, look at that. Now he behaves. All right, so let's go ahead now and remember those 2. Where did they go? Here's one of them. And now I can't find the other one. Oh, here it is. So remember those 2 inside panels that we took out of our card? We are now going to use them on our note cards. And so those we don't really need a measurement for because they're just leftover pieces from the card that we just created. However, if you want to get the perfect measurement for the backdrop, the matting that's going to go behind this and really make it pop, this is Flirty Flamingo, and the exact measurement is 2 3/4 by 4 1/8. And now what we're going to do is we're just going to flip this over and add some multi-purpose liquid glue. We're going to set this into our panel, and look how beautifully that matches. Oh my goodness, it's so pretty. So you can just kind of scoot that into place if you need to. And we'll do the same thing over here. So we're just going to add a little multi-purpose liquid glue to the back of this cutout and add it to our Flirty Flamingo panel. And there it is. Now this gets glued straight on down onto our card, and we're just going to put it right in the middle. So it's super, super simple. So we're going to add this right here. See how quickly you can put a note card together. So there's one. Here is the other one. And remember, this was actually the design I came up with first, and then got a little carried away getting crazy trying to come up with a design that I could use for a standard size card that would use the frame part of this cutout. There we go. So now the next thing to do is add a sentiment. Oh, and here we have our envelopes. Gotta have those so you can put them in the mail. That's important. If you're going to be a card maker, it's good to be a card sender as well. And I did pre-stamp the thank yous. And now I'm just going to flip those over and we'll add some minis again. So I think 2 minis will do it. And I'll use my Take Your Pick tool to get the peelies off. And then we just have to set these wherever we want them. And I think it looks good right there. So that's where it's going. And this one too. Right there. All right, so let me put all of the cards out that we did today so you can get a good look at everything. And we'll just grab these. All right, everyone, it was so fun to be here today. Thank you so much for joining me. If you ever want to visit my blog, it is Stamping to Share, and I always put the links, whether it's on YouTube or Facebook or at my blog. But I just want to thank you so much for being here today and for watching me make this beautiful card. And remember that you only have through the end of June to get this at the bundle price. So be sure you go out and you get the art gallery bundle if it's still on your wish list, because you can get it at 10% savings through the end of June 2021. Have a great day, everyone. I truly appreciate you. Bye-bye.